Ethan Parker never believed in destiny. Growing up in Los Angeles, he was surrounded by people chasing dreams actors, musicians, influencers, all convinced that something bigger was written for them. But Ethan? He believed in hard work, timing, and a bit of luck. Nothing more. That was until he met Sophia Reyes. It happened on a warm Friday evening in downtown LA. Ethan had just wrapped up a long day at his marketing job and decided to stop by a small coffee shop called Golden Brew. It wasn't fancy, but it had character, dime lights, soft indie music, and the comforting smell of fresh espresso. He ordered his usual black coffee and took a seat by the window. That's when he noticed her. She was sitting across the room, sketching in a notebook. Her long dark hair fell loosely over her shoulders, and she had this quiet focus that made everything around her fade away. Ethan wasn't the type to stare, but something about her felt different. As if sensing his gaze, she looked up. Their eyes met. For a second, time slowed. She gave a small, polite smile. Nothing dramatic, just enough to acknowledge him, and then went back to her sketch. Ethan looked away quickly, slightly embarrassed. Get it together, he thought. But something inside him had already shifted. The next evening, he found himself back at Golden Brew. He told himself it was for the coffee. It wasn't. And there she was again, sitting in the same spot, sketching. This time, Ethan didn't hesitate. He walked over. Hey, he said, trying to sound casual. Do you mind if I sit here? It's kind of crowded. She looked up, slightly surprised, then smiled. Sure. Up close, she was even more captivating. Her eyes were warm, expressive, like they held stories waiting to be told. I'm Ethan, he said. Sophia, she replied. There was a brief silence, not awkward, just new. What are you drawing? He asked. She hesitated for a moment, then turned the notebook toward him. It was a sketch of the cafe, every detail beautifully captured, from the hanging lights to the people sitting around. Wow, Ethan said honestly. That's amazing. She smiled, a little shy. Thanks, I'm an art student. Figures, he said. I can barely draw a stick figure. She laughed softly, and that laugh, it stayed with him. Days turned into weeks. Ethan and Sophia began meeting regularly at Golden Brew. What started as casual conversations turned into something deeper. They talked about everything: dreams, fears, childhood memories. Sophia had moved to LA from San Diego to pursue art. She wanted to become an illustrator, maybe even work in animation someday. Ethan admired her passion. You actually love what you do, he said one evening. She tilted her head. Don't you? Ethan paused. I like my job, he said. It pays the bills. That's not the same thing, she replied gently. Her words lingered. One night, after the cafe closed, they decided to take a walk. The city lights reflected off the streets, and the air was cool. I feel like I'm always stuck between two worlds, Sophia said suddenly. What do you mean? Ethan asked. One part of me wants to follow my dreams, no matter how hard it gets. The other part is scared. Scared of failing, of not being enough. Ethan looked at her. You're more than enough, he said quietly. She stopped walking. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then she smiled. A different kind of smile this time. Deeper, more meaningful. Thank you, she said. That was the night everything changed. Their friendship slowly turned into love. It wasn't rushed. It grew naturally, through late-night conversations, shared coffee, inside jokes, and quiet moments that didn't need words. Ethan found himself thinking about Sophia all the time. The way she laughed, the way she saw beauty in ordinary things, the way she made him question his own life choices. And Sophia? She felt safe with Ethan, like she could be herself. No pressure, no expectations. Just real. One evening, Ethan took Sophia to a rooftop overlooking the city. I come here when I need to think, he said. The skyline stretched endlessly, lights glowing like stars. It's beautiful, Sophia whispered. Ethan took a deep breath. I think I'm falling in love with you, he said. Sophia turned to him, her heart racing. You think? She teased softly. He smiled nervously. Okay, I know I am. There was a pause. Then she stepped closer. I was wondering when you'd say it, she said. And just like that, they were no longer just two people meeting at a cafe. They were something more. Months passed. Their relationship grew stronger. But life, as always, had its own plans. One afternoon, Sophia received an email. She had been accepted into a prestigious art program in New York. It was everything she had dreamed of. But it meant leaving LA. Leaving Ethan. They sat in silence at Golden Brew, the same place where everything began. This is your dream, Ethan said. I know, Sophia replied softly. Then you have to go. She looked at him, tears in her eyes. What about us? Ethan hesitated. He wanted to say stay. He wanted to be selfish. But he couldn't. I don't want to be the reason you don't follow your dreams, he said. And I don't want to lose you, she whispered. The days leading up to her departure were filled with mixed emotions. They tried to make the most of every moment, late-night drives, long conversations, holding on to each other like time wasn't slipping away. But it was. The night before her flight, they returned to the rooftop. I don't know what's going to happen, Sophia said. Me neither, Ethan admitted. But I do know one thing, she said. What's that? I love you. Ethan smiled, his heart full and breaking at the same time. I love you too. At the airport, they held each other tightly. No matter what happens, Ethan said, you're going to do amazing things. Sophia nodded, tears streaming down her face. Don't forget me, she said. Never, he replied. And just like that, she was gone. The months that followed were difficult. They tried long distance, calls, texts, video chats, but time zones, busy schedules, and the distance made it hard. Slowly, the conversations became shorter, less frequent, until one day, they stopped. Years passed. Ethan changed jobs, started his own business. Sofia built a successful career as an illustrator. They both moved forward, but neither truly forgot. One evening, Ethan found himself back at Golden Brew. It hadn't changed much. Same lights, same music, same memories. He sat by the window, holding a cup of coffee. And then, Ethan? He looked at her. Sofia. Older, more confident, but still the same. Time stood still once again. Sofia, he said, almost in disbelief. They both laughed, a mix of surprise and nostalgia. I can't believe it's you, she said. Same, he replied. They sat down, just like old times. And somehow, it felt easy. Natural, like no time had passed at all. What are you doing back in LA? Ethan asked. I moved back, she said. Got a job here. That's amazing, she smiled. What about you? I stayed, he said. Built something here. They talked for hours, catching up on everything they had missed, and as the conversation flowed, something became clear. The connection was still there, stronger than ever. As they stepped outside the cafe, the city lights glowing around them, Ethan took a deep breath. Do you believe in destiny? He asked. Sofia smiled. I didn't used to, she said. But now? She looked at him. Now I think some people are meant to find their way back to each other. Ethan nodded. Yeah, he said softly. I think so too. And this time, when their hands touched, neither of them let go.